Joining us now is Washington Congressman and ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee, Adam Smith. We will start with this. Trump very adamant that Putin wants peace. However, Putin is not signaling that he is going to agree to the ceasefire that is on the table right now, where Ukraine has made some concessions. So what do you see happening? What do you want to see happening going forward? And who is holding the cards at this point? Because Putin hasn't been asked to concede anything at this point.
Yeah, well, the first big point is the one that you made, and there's been some, I think, not accurate reporting on that. Putin said no to the ceasefire. Well, he's open to it. No, he said no to the ceasefire that was offered. Zelensky said yes. No, but, or sorry, yes, but is not a yes, it's a no. So let's be clear on that. Putin has said no to the ceasefire. And then when you look at the conditions that he sort of vaguely talked about, it really points to the central problem here. Look, the Trump administration approach to get to this peace agreement has been to try to force Ukraine off of their maximalist demands. They've been putting pressure on Zelensky in 1,000 different ways to get him to back off of the idea of retaking all of Ukraine, holding Putin accountable, trying him for war crimes, all of that. And that's fine. But what Trump hasn't done is what you just said. He hasn't put any pressure on Putin. In order for a peace deal to be achieved, you have to force Putin off of his maximalist demands. And what that means is giving security guarantees to Zelensky when Trump has done the exact opposite. He's undercut it. He's pulled aid. Yes, he's turned some of it back on, but he's put all the pressure on Zelensky, and Putin's just waiting. There's no indication at this point that Putin supports a ceasefire.
I want to talk about the economy quickly here. We're just hearing from the Commerce Secretary saying, hey, it might be fair to put tariffs on Germany and Japan on their cars. President Trump promising heavier tariffs in this fight that he has started, the sort of tariff war, if you will, the trade war, if you will. What do you see happening here? What is, in your mind, Donald Trump's endgame with all this?
Well, Trump's endgame at this point is just to try to coerce whatever other country he can. And that's a real problem. It's been devastating to our economy. Tariffs can be a really important tool in building up a strong economy. I believe in industrial policy. I've often said, and I say this as Adam Smith, there's no such thing as free trade. There's really not. Every country, they have tariffs, they have different blocks on it, different pieces of this. The question is, how do you tactically and strategically use those tools to help your economy? Well, that's not what President Trump is doing. He's simply lashing out at every country he can in an effort to coerce them in a way that is incoherent and at the moment is doing great damage to the economic welfare of the American people. If there's some plan in there, if there's some, here's the jobs we're going to create, here's how we're going to protect the jobs of American people, I don't see it. So I don't think chaos, coercion, and alienating every country on the face of the earth is a path to economic prosperity for the American people.
But do you see the free trade agreement as a mistaken policy?
I'm sorry, which free trade agreement are we talking about?
The initial free trade agreement that is in NAFTA.
No, I'm serious. And I think that's it. I think in some Americans' minds, or sorry, not Americans' minds, but in the Trump administration's mind, it's like trade is bad by definition. So let's lash out at it. And look, I have voted for some trade agreements. I've voted against others. Not every agreement is good, but you have to have principles behind it. What industry are you trying to protect? What goods do you need to flow in so that you can grow the industry? Putting the massive tariffs that we've done on steel and aluminum. Well, steel and aluminum go into manufacturing. Right. So we're actually probably harming manufacturing by doing those massive tariffs. We're harming the ability of U.S. companies to compete. I want to see some sort of intelligent economic plan. Trump right now is clearly expressing the anger of the American people, and justifiably so, that the economic deals that we have made over the course of the last 40 years haven't worked for way too many of the American people. I completely agree with that. The rich have gotten richer and the working class has gotten screwed. No two ways about it. But what is Trump's plan other than being angry?
Can I ask you one last question? And one last question is, Chuck Schumer has done a flip-flop. In 24 hours, once he says, look, I'm not voting for this CR, the stopgap to keep the government open, and now he says, no, I have to vote for this CR. And the messaging is all over the place with Democrats. When are Democrats, or is this a problem for Democrats, not having a message that is cohesive?
Yeah, it's absolutely a problem. And look, the CR was always a lose-lose situation. There was no good decision. And I think we should have made that clear a lot earlier. And I watched the interview with Dana Bash a moment ago, and I think she did a good job of, on the one hand, but then again on the other. You know, it's very difficult. I think we should have sent that clear message. We have a lot of things that we can be strong on right now. Trump abandoning Ukraine in favor of Putin, the crazy tariff policy, the random firing and random shutting down of programs. I saw the coverage of the town hall in North Carolina. Everything right now is going in the wrong direction. Consumer confidence is going down. The stock market is going down. Jobless claims are going up. Inflation is going up. The price of eggs is going up. Measles are spreading. The bird flu is spreading. So we've got a lot of good arguments. Instead, picking a fight in the one area. I mean, first of all, the American people don't even know what the hell a CR is. Okay, so how are you going to have a debate that's really going to be effective? And yet we're going at each other over some very, very complicated issues instead of focusing on those things that I just laid out that I think are very positive issues on the Democratic side. So yes, we are divided. Now, part of that is, there's a lot of people who are justifiably freaked out by what Trump is doing. And they want us to fight back and win today, right now. And that option's not on the table. There's no one message, there's no one tweet, there's no one argument that is suddenly going to stop Trump's attempted autocratic takeover of the country and destruction of our economy. We have to fight hard every day, but we have to understand two things. You got to be smart about it. Not every idea that comes into your head is going to help that argument. And two, it's not going to happen today. We've got to be in this for the long haul and fight it every single day. And wrapping ourselves around the axle on a debate over the CR, just probably not the best choice.